Boom, we are alive, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. This is T-Ho and the Arcane Bear. Hope you guys are having a fantastic morning today. It is Tuesday, August 3rd, into near the final quarter of 2021. We're going to dive in. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin to start off with, and then we're going to go through some of our favorite digital alternative assets. And at the end of this episode, we're going to take a look at some NFTs. Yes, that's right. I actually own some NFTs. And we're going to talk about that whole sector, I guess, for a little bit as well. So to dive in, where we're going to start is the Bitcoin chart, where we like to start. We broke out of this falling wedge. It was nice to see. We didn't have a spring down to 23 grand. Now, we're not out of the woods yet, but what I would suspect is that we get a little bit of support and resistance come in right above the point of control at around $34,000 before we continue upwards. There are some really strong signals coming out of the market. If we go to the data and look at the amount of Bitcoin balance on exchanges, for all exchanges, as you can see, we had a dramatic amount of Bitcoin purchased off the open market and then tucked away into cold storage. This is always a great indicator because it leads towards more volatility. And as we zoom out, you can actually see this is the lowest it's been since we basically started some of the peak out highs. So it's very likely that as we continue to watch this, we're going to see more upward momentum. Now, again, we don't know where all the open supply of Bitcoin is, so that could very actually quickly turn around. You could see a massive amount of supply come into the market, although I don't think that's going to be the case. Again, we have some pretty strong signals coming out from Bitcoin, both in the technical and also clearly the fundamental aspects of the decentralized, distributed, digital native world that everyone is now almost totally accustomed to. So I'm very, very, very confident on that one. The next thing we want to do is take a quick look at Ethereum. So here is the Ethereum chart. One of the things I wanted to do today was compare it to, boom, here we go, a reaccumulation schematic number 4. These are all part of the private bear den. As you can see, we've just broken above the creek here in the last week or two. I guess the last week, geez, this happened fast. The 19th, it's only, basically a week. Within the week, we had our spring, and we've moved up into what appears to be phase D and phase E. Now, this to me looks like a beautiful reaccumulation after decline. These are one of the weaker signals, but what's nice is, again, we're looking like we're getting distribution up until we had a low volume spring around the 19th, and that we saw something very, very similar in Bitcoin as well. So we have hit a lot of the key markers here, and it does appear that we are moving up into phase E, and we will likely see both forward momentum, not just in Bitcoin, but also in Ethereum as well. Avalanche, one of our favorites here. Again, we had some really great entries down near $1 or $2, so we're still up significantly on this play. This kind of last little bit of the market, let's say it caught me by surprise, at least on some of the other aspects of my portfolio. Now in Bitcoin, it was, again, we had gone over the idea that we could touch around $30,000, $25,000. We got down to 30, but I didn't think it would smash the digital assets, although of course that would happen. I'm surprised I haven't learned that clearly yet. But it's also why the volatility both to the up and downside we like. So as high as it goes up, it also comes down. I'm a big fan of Avalanche though, so we're keeping a close eye on it. Solana seems to also have what's really interesting is that once we saw the falling wedge on Bitcoin complete its finality, we started to see more of these falling wedge scenarios come to play. So for Solana, we are actually above the point of control right now, which is very nice to see. And it's not the only one. When we go to Oneinch too, we actually see this falling wedge at the final part of this. Now, one of the fun things about learning is I don't know everything, clearly. I don't know if I ever told you that, ladies and gentlemen, but hey, look, I don't know everything. No, I don't know everything. But the charts can teach us something. And what we're trying to learn here, especially because you have so many different dynamic possibilities, is what does accumulation look like in the wild versus what we have in our drawn out schematics. Now, the schematics are like perfected versions of how these accumulation ranges will go. So out in the wild, the footprint can look a little bit different. One of the things I think that's really intriguing to me is things like Oneinch, where you have this huge potential here And what else was there too? There were some updates too, wasn't there? Yes, the one, this was, I love the DeFi sector. It's fascinating to me. So the Oneinch Foundation will distribute $10 million in Oneinch to the DeFi community as gas cost refunds. In what industry do you go spend money and then that company give you money back? Could you imagine that every year that you bought an Apple computer, they called you back at the end of 10 years like, hey, we see you've bought like 15 Apple computers over the course of a decade. We're just going to give you a free computer because we love you. The entire DeFi sector has been doing stuff like this across the board. Like when UnisWap gave out free or distributed free Uni tokens. Yes, I know it's part of being considered more decentralized, but the fact that Oneinch and these other companies are going through such a kind of abstract process of giving away money, it makes you really excited about the participation factor. You know, I think a lot of people get, it's really easy to get confused by the DeFi sector. It can be complicated, but learning how to do it is one of the best investments you can make. And then also, when you make these investments in learning, you're also often rewarded by these companies. Now, that's not always the case, but big shout out to Oneinch for doing so. Again, so the Oneinch team is thrilled to announce that on September 1st, 2021, the Oneinch Foundation will begin to distribute around $10 million of 10 million Oneinch tokens as gas consumption refunds to users who will stake Oneinch through the Oneinch app. Initially, the idea was such of a gas refund program was proposed by the Oneinch community members to the Oneinch governance forum. And again, you have these DAOs or these decentralized autonomous networks where people can vote on the ideas that they would like. And here they go. If you are staking 100 Oneinch tokens, the users will get a 25% gas refund. So the current refund program will run until the 10 million Oneinch mark is reached. So back to our chart. Actually, let's clean this up a little bit here. Boom. So as we can see, we're into this falling wedge for Oneinch. Probably, we're way below the point of control. As you can see, as soon as we fell below the point of control, it happened very quickly. Here it was after the upthrust. That's a triangle, not a circle, but it will do for now. At this area, once we broke the point of control, we did fall down quite quickly. Again, in the venture capital space, I think the best way to understand any sentiment, even more than fundamentals, is understanding that heads I win, tails I only lose a little. If you are following a month-over-month strategy, your consistency and your interest in things changes, right? So this month, your interest in Oneinch may vastly be outpaced by the fact that next month you think SolRise is the best investment. SolRise is another one of our venture capital plays. Since we took our positions, we're actually up quite a bit, around 50% already. We do see that in the common marketplace as well, right? Even if we measure terminally Oneinch from the spring, you're talking about a 45% growth from the spring itself after around an 80% decline or 60% decline, excuse me. Yeah, 60 to 80% decline, followed by a 50% uptick afterwards. Again, that month-over-month process is the easiest way to measure risk, I think, by what you're willing to walk away from for hopefully, probably a few years is the best way to look at it. Again, SolRise is another asset management platform on Solana. So far, they've been doing well for us. Mercurial is another one of our favorite investments now. We entered Mercurial at the IDO, and we had a really quick 10x off of the IDO. And now since that 10x, it has retraced approximately 80%. Jesus. Actually, maybe a little lower if you measure from the wicket or the body of the candlestick itself. Around, but still, 77% down since our all-time high on Mercurial. Mercurial's also come out with some cool new features. Hold on, let's see if I can organize this a little better. Yes, there it is. They have partnered with Terra. So for those of you that have been following along in our private group around Terra, Luna, it's an interesting blockchain. They've got a big community already built because of their relationships in Asia and Korea specifically. We have a podcast with their founder, Do Kwon, that will come out tomorrow. So stay tuned for that and check out that. But again, Mercurial here had partnered, let's say, we'll use the word partner for now, although that's not correct, for cross-chain, cross-community building between Luna, Solana, and the DeFi Mercurial platform for stable coins. So the UST will now run. So here it says, key growth metric for Terra's ecosystem is our market cap of stable coins. So we are in contact with Mercurial Finance, which is building curve-like products on Solana. To add UST as a base asset in the three pool, USDT and USDC, replacing DAI's role on Curve. This will be done by porting over UST from Ethereum through the Sol wormhole. See, this is one of the crazy things about the DeFi sector. Like, what am I even saying? The Sol wormhole bridge? We've gotten to know the Mercurial team over the last few months. We believe strongly in their vision. They've raised over $10 million and have a broad institutional and retail support. I agree. I'm a big fan of Mercurial. Even though we've had a significant drop, my new thesis for venture capital is basically accumulate and never sell. Now everyone thinks, oh, well, Tio, why would you never sell? Like, you could do so well if you were shave off profits. Yeah, well, it causes a lot of tax implications depending on where you're banking. It also causes a lot of hassle for management of your treasury and auditing and booking, all the annoying stuff no one wants to take care of. So what do? We just buy, accumulate, and if we want more of it, we wait till it's cheaper and we buy more. Effectively, this would represent one of those areas in Mercurial. So we'll probably add more as the 11th of this month is generally our acquisition time. Serum is again, this falling wedge seems to be appearing consistently. We've seen a break up above the falling wedge. We do see that consistent 60 to 70% growth here. A huge move from the bottom of the low volume spring out. I would like to see a close above the point of control, which is at $6. But again, look at how similar both Oneinch and Solana or Serum look together. Again, one of the most fascinating parts about the marketplace is understanding that the entire market moves together. They're not separated. Human consciousness or human endeavors in greed and fear are intimately related, and there's not a whole lot you can really do to separate that. Now, yes, you will see growth in sectors that people would say, oh, will it decouple? Will Ethereum flip in Bitcoin? Now, the price and the market cap may go above it, but they will always all move together. One of the most important parts to understand is that when we experience something like a global pandemic, all of the prices drop significantly at the exact same time, and it has nothing to do with the underlying fundamentals. It has everything to do with human psychology, and once you understand that, it is significantly easier to be a good investor. You invest when people are scared and the prices are low, and you're generally distributing, and for my at least personal goal of profit taking is just to make sure I have enough capital to operate for my next 2 to 3 to 5 years as a total failure if that's what happens. Although we haven't had that happen in a few years, that's what I like to measure by because I have had it happen before when I was younger, made a business, did well, and then it didn't do anything for 2 to 3 years, and I basically had to come up with an entirely new business model. So I was glad to know that I had at least my budgeted out month-to-month basis of what I could do to make that success come to play. Cardano, I know a lot of you guys are big fans of Cardano. This is a really interesting chart. You know, one of the most important factors of what I'm always trying to learn here is the way that these trading ranges take place. So, you know, we've seen our early entries in Cardano when we had the podcast with Charles Hoskinson was way down here in November and December, and it's up 8x still, which is phenomenal. The thing that's a little obscure to me, and I see this in both Ethereum as well, is that generally when you see a top like this and small side shoulders like this represents what's known as a hypodermic top. And we do see them frequently, but also note that within Ethereum this last week, what appeared to be a hypodermic top on its long frame here is now turned into what appears to me at least a reaccumulation after decline. So I'm keeping a really close eye on Ethereum here as well because of the similarities to the Cardano chart. You have both the left-hand shoulder and the right-hand shoulder below that hypodermic peak. Now, are we seeing something similar in Cardano here where we're seeing a reaccumulation after decline? It's very possible. This market is in overdrive. For the first time, the world's biggest funds have accepted that the crypto sector is here to stay. And not only that, it is a fantastic place to be invested in. Matic, one of our long-term venture capital plays, did so well for us. You know, we'd been in Matic for almost 2 years. So to finally see this massive growth, what was it? Over 19,000%. I was going to say something ridiculous there. Even lower, even just with a little bit less than that, it was an easy 10x from secondary entries into March. But what's happening? Again, what's interesting to me is this really hard falling supply line, which again, you could very easily view as a potential falling wedge. I'm a little bit hesitant Again, all of the, even the reaccumulation after decline here, I need to see Ethereum close above 2,900 to 3,000, and then we can be super stoked. But from Bitcoin's angle, again, as long as we are closing above 35,000 here, above the point of control, we're very, very likely going to continue higher. Now, that last leg will probably be the last leg of the bull market before we see a multi-year accumulation channel, much like we did at 2017 to 2019 and prior from 2013 to 2017. So I do believe we probably have another 50 to 70 days in this accumulation channel before we start to see like high highs come in. But we want to keep a daily update because this trading range here is on all of these, whether it's Cardano, Matic, or Bitcoin, this area here where we're at right now is hyper important. It's going to kind of dictate the rest of the market. But with the amount of growth we've seen here, again, it's very, very easy to see that this might be the case. We had some cool news come in from Energy as well. Good friends of ours, their founder, I guess, Tommy is one of our good friends. So they launched the Energy testnet about a week ago with great success. And now they've launched EnergySwap. So EnergySwap is a really, it's another version of Uniswap, but like Polygon and the Matic, there's like no fees to play here. So it's effectively cost nothing to transact on EnergySwap. And back to their article here. So what is EnergySwap? It's used many DeFi products, built a modified version of the Uniswap protocol, significantly lower gas fees than the competitors, unrivaled security thanks to the expertise of the Energy Bureau, world-class support from management team, and the launch of the EnergySwap testnet, which had been running for the past month prior to this. So what tokens are available to trade? You've got Energy, eDai, eBTC. So all these eLink, eAave, these are all wrapped versions of the initial tokens. We've seen that with WBTC, which was running on Ethereum. And we're starting to see more of these bridges take place. So it'll be fun to see what type of bridge Energy builds here, much like that Solana wormhole that we were talking about, to really kind of port things over and build it across. Now, lastly, I wanted to end today with NFTs. Okay, so we'll start with Fever. Fever is one of the investments the private group made about, 3 weeks ago. We're at already a 10x in 26 days from that investment. So within our private group, we are always going over what I believe to be very powerful venture capital plays. If we can scroll back here, look at all the times we're talking about Fever, where is it? Yes, here's where we started to talk about Fever the first time. This was, and they sold out in 2 minutes. Here, for all those who participate, we've seen, again, a 13, well, at its high, actually, it was a bit higher than that. At its high, it was a 12x, and today is currently sitting at a 10x. So we had a beautiful 10x run on Fever. Now, Fever, for those of you that don't know, I should have made these a little easier to manage. They are an NFT platform for video rights to soccer or football, depending on what country you're in, NFTs. So they own the rights to Cristiano Ronaldo's first goal ever in video format. So for collectors of the soccer world, or football, again, because I don't know how to say any of these things, it's a really, really good way to go. So again, they had just some little highlights. PokerStarter sold out in 2 minutes. They're listed in PancakeSwap, over 10x. The packs and NFTs are being revealed this week. They also had Bruno Fernandes, one of the big soccer players, jump on board with over 4.4 million followers. Now, I'm not a big NFT investor, but what I started to realize is, there's a lot of growth in this market. I don't understand collectibles, but hey, let's try it out. So we have a moon cat as well. Thank you to the moon cats who gifted us this stray moon cat. It's fascinating to see that almost every day someone's trying to buy this thing for like $1,000. This cute purple stray moon cat that was gifted to us, I will never sell. I actually thought about clicking sell for like 1,000 Ethereum just so that it was up there. It was one of the most expensive listed freaking NFTs ever. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that later today. Anyways, let me know what you think about NFTs in your thoughts down below. I know there's a hugely valuable potential here, not just for the collector's aspect of art, but also for those people that are interested in community engagement building and how you offer your community new ways to participate with one another. So I'm fascinated to see this whole sector grow. So thank you to the Moon Cat Rescue for gifting me a stray moon cat. I love that. If anyone wants to, you're welcome to give me stray animals. I collect a bunch, apparently. I got 2 dogs and a sloth at the farm at home. Anyways, thank you all for joining us on today's episode. This is Teal with the Arcane Bear. Remember that one of the easiest ways to get over the disease of the early investor, which is usually over-emotional trading and lack of education, is by joining a group of interested, enveloped, and engaged, is not enveloped, engaged participants is what we like to do. So the cure to that is by joining something like the Arcane Bear private group. If you go to arcanebear.com/private and you sign up today, remember there is no risk. That means if you are not happy with the content that we provide, we're happy to give you a refund. We have almost 1,000 members, and we've only had a few people that are unhappy, and I'm not even sure why that is. Perhaps they were expecting that we were going to do the work for them. It's not how it is. We like to engage. As you've seen with some of our private group content before in the past, we have this section that's really fun. It's called peer review. So for those of you that were along the ride while we were looking at Glasswalker's chart, who had been, we looked like distribution. I was clearly in the mode of distribution as well. What was fun is we had, I'm just gonna give Haley one more shout out here because I think it was so much fun. Haley, one of our early students who hadn't even graduated yet, was able to find this beautiful rendition of the accumulation schematic that she thought it was, and she was clearly correct. Well, I was a little bit off base, although we had been following that falling wedge in Bitcoin for quite some time. She did an absolute fantastic job with illustrating it here as well. So that's one of the fun parts about the mastermind community, is that everybody works to grow together stronger. Anyways, Teal with the Arcane Bear. I'm going to leave out the last few minutes of today's episode probably to go over just a few questions and thoughts, because I know you guys always like it when we riff and rant. So let's do that. Grow Easy says, good morning, Arcane Bear. We appreciate you. Thank you guys for the support. I appreciate you as well. NFTs are so much fun. Yeah, really interesting. I think it's worth playing. DJ Wisdom says, I sold 4 NFTs for 10x yesterday. Yeah, we had a few people in the private group. One guy messaged me this morning, said he got one for free and then sold it for 1 Ethereum. That's fucking amazing. I love how crazy this world is. Nice. Marco Shea says, shout out from Capos, brah. Cool. Nice to see that you're not too far away. And then Brian Blockchain says, call your senators to oppose the crypto provisions of the infrastructure bill. I agree. Doesn't make any sense. Anyways, this is Teal with the Arcane Bear. Thank you all for joining us today. Maybe we're going to try to find a way to do more shorter episodes. I'm just not, it's just hard. I like to live my life and do other things. I do as much as I can for these videos. So thank you guys all for supporting us. Teal with the Arcane Bear. And we'll see you again on the next episode. Boom.